Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome back to the KSA Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Mills, and I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome you to episode 2 of the KSA Podcast. Now, I had 2 topics I wanted to discuss with you today. One of them is relocation to Saudi, and we're going to be talking about why it's easy and the whole process of that. And secondly, which kind of comes in hand with the relocation, because if you don't relocate to Saudi, or if you don't come to Saudi, you're not going to experience this feeling that I want to discuss with you. And it's something that I want to spend a lot of time talking with you about because it's something so beautiful and something that you will never find in your life anywhere else. Maybe there's parts of it that you'll experience. I know I sometimes do talk about it in the podcast, but maybe you don't really understand as to the level of how crazy it is. But it's just this amazing feeling that you get in Saudi Arabia and you won't feel it anywhere else. So I'll discuss that with you later because it's very important. And I think every person, over 7 billion people in the world, deserve to experience this exact thing that I'm going to discuss later. And also, they deserve to know. And that's something that I want to talk about later. But firstly, before you do all of that, relocating to Saudi Arabia is the easiest thing in the world. It's a very easy visa process, guys. It's streamlined, it's straightforward, easy for foreigners to understand, and it's just going to be easy for you. I know a lot of people, maybe a visa situation is kind of annoying, but in Saudi, it's very easy, it's very streamlined. There's a whole platform you can go on. You can put what visa you're looking for and how long you're staying, and you can put in all your details. I put mine in, literally put it all in, bang, you're accepted. I had it on my phone like almost like a card, like when you pay on Apple Pay. That's what it was, and it was so easy to do, and that was like crazy because in different countries it's harder to get a visa. You have to go through this whole process, but it's so easy in Saudi. Next thing I would say, when you get off the plane, you're going to be welcomed into the kingdom. It's not like you're just going to get to the city and you're going to have nice people. No, this starts from the first time you ever set your foot past the point of you get off the plane. The people are so warm, and I'm not just saying this is like a kind of, I'm just saying they're warm. No, they really are amazing people, and they're so happy to see you in their country, even to the point where you get to the border control, and they wish you an amazing stay. They're so nice to you. Maybe you're going to get a sim or you're going to rent a car, and those people are so nice to you, and they welcome you, and they ask you, how long are you coming to Saudi for? What do you plan to do? And they give you advice on what to do. And just from that initial first maybe 5 minutes of you being in the kingdom, you already feel at home. You've just been here for 5 minutes and you come from wherever you come from, different place. You're at home already, really, to them. This is your home. Welcome to the kingdom. And that's something really, really great, because I've been to so many different countries where I kind of felt out of my depth. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what to do because everything's so confusing. But no, I mean, when my first ever trip, I was 18, fresh 18, like this was literally like 3 months after my birthday. I just decided, you know what, I'm going to go to Saudi Arabia and experience it. So I came for the first time. I never felt out of depth the whole time. And in every trip after that, sometimes I maybe felt like, okay, but this is kind of a bit much. But I never felt out of depth in Saudi. And that's something just because of how amazing the people are and how kind they are and how outgoing they are. And they just want to see you have a lovely time in Saudi. And on the first trip, I kind of had a little incident where obviously I was coming to Saudi for the first time. I got a sim. The guy was so nice. Anyway, so I got the sim. The sim guy was nice. He was like, have an amazing stay. Booked my Uber. And then I got in the Uber. I went to the airport. Not the airport. I went to my hotel. Sorry. And anyway, I got to the hotel. I said to the guy, did you put my suitcase in the back? Because I couldn't remember him putting the suitcase in the back. And he said like, oh no. He got out in like the middle of the road for some reason. Like, that was crazy to see, because no one, like, if you did that in the UK, like, that would just be crazy. I'm not just talking like a normal road. This was like a highway. And he looked in the back, nothing there. And then he was like, look, get into the hotel, like, here's my number, let me know if you find it. And then, so I got into the hotel. I pretty much nearly fainted at this point, because this was like 45 degrees in Riyadh. This is like my first. I'm like, I nearly fainted, and I was kind of panicking as well because like I paid, so I did like Booking.com. I stayed at hotels. The only time I stayed at hotels. It's on Booking.com. So I didn't pay initially, like pay at the property, and I was a bit worried because I didn't know with Apple Pay whether there was a limit that you could do. And the annoying thing is, I left my wallet and my passport inside the taxi driver's car without me knowing. I just forgot because obviously I was panicking about the thing and it must have fallen in my pocket. So I nearly fainted, and it was all fine, paid for it. And the guy was like, look, we've upgraded your room, which was really nice. It's like, because obviously I was like panicking. He was like, we've upgraded the room. I didn't ask him, but this is just nice. And they got me some water. I made sure I was okay, and I was panicking. And then they went through this whole thing, and I was like, oh my God, where's my wallet? And I called up the guy. Well, he actually texted me and was like, oh, by the way, your wallet's in here. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. So he drove all the way back. He was like, this is like an Uber driver. So he's obviously doing all the work. He drove all the way back, gave me the wallet and everything. Then I went through the whole process of trying to find the suitcase and couldn't find it. I called up the police and everything, and they were like, oh, we don't know. So I texted the Uber driver, and he was like, oh, did you find it yet? And this was really, really late at night, probably near enough to 11. And he was like, oh, should we just go and find it? And normally I just think in the UK everything shuts after 6. I'm like, where are you gonna you can't just go to the police station. But anyway, so we literally drove all the way from my hotel in pretty much central Riyadh all the way to the airport, went to the police in there, and we couldn't find it. Went to Lost and Found, couldn't find it. Then and this guy had already done so much for me at this point. Anyway, then we just sort of gave up. And where we went to pick up from the outside of the airport, went to there, spoke to the staff there. They didn't see anything, so I thought maybe the Uber turned up and I just left my suitcase. Anyway, we gave up. Well, I gave up, and I was like, do you know what? It's not that deep. I was panicking, but I was just like, oh, it's not that deep. Then we went inside because he wanted to get me a coffee and just to chill. And as we're walking to the coffee place, I look in the SIM shop line, and there's my suitcase there in the line of the thing. And no one touched the suitcase. It was just where I left it, basically. And that was crazy. And I was like, oh my God, that's my suitcase. Thank you. And I just couldn't believe it. Still to this day, when you hear stories about oh, I left my laptop in the Middle East to see if it got stolen, that I didn't even think that was a real story. No, this really happened to me, and I couldn't believe it was in the SIM line exactly where I left it. Because I must have been because I think I asked the guy, where did you put my UK SIM? He was in the back of your phone. I checked it. I was like, okay, cool, Saudi SIM now. So I just left, and I must have just forgot my suitcase. So the guy bought me a coffee, and then he paid for the parking in the thing. I was like, please let me pay. And he's like, no, you're not allowed to pay. You're a guest. And so just expressing that warm hospitality from day one, he was like, I want to make sure you get this solved for you. I was panicking in the hotel. I was like, no, we want you to have an amazing trip. And that is really what made me fall in love with this country so much. As if I wasn't already liking it before. I think that whole experience changed me from, oh my God, I hate it here because I've lost my suitcase and I'm upset and someone's stolen it, to oh my God, I can't believe it. These people are so amazing. They went all the way out their way for me. No one even took anything. It was just me being stupid. And that's something that you might hear a lot about Saudi, but it's really, really true. So they're going to make you feel at home for sure. I already felt by that point, I was like, do you know what? This place is so special. And the next thing I would say is there's a massive expat community within Saudi Arabia, not just limited to Riyadh as well, the capital city, but also Jeddah as well, because basically for so many years, so a long time, Muslims, they come to Saudi Arabia for their pilgrimage. And because of its close proximity to where that is, Jeddah was almost sort of where Muslims ended up, and they decided to stay in Saudi Arabia, decided to sort of settle there. And so the city of Jeddah is such a multicultural place. And even so, with the food and everything, there's so many different takes on everything. So it's just been if you eat the food, it's a recipe that's been perfected for so long. with so many different cultures and different spices that people brought over, and it's just been adapted. And that's something so amazing about Saudi, that it's so multicultural. There's a massive expat community, not just Riyadh, where maybe most people are going to be looking at, but also Jeddah and other places as well. And there's a built-in support network for you as well. Obviously, being that there's so many expats, people are so willing to go out of their way to just help you settle in. And there's even like Facebook groups that you can be in that sort of you can be there. You can ask a question. Maybe you haven't been to Saudi Arabia before and you're coming for the first time. You're like, okay, something as simple as like, I don't know, can I get any like paracetamol or something? I don't know, some random question, and people are more than willing to answer that for you. And there's not a lot. People don't really know about that you can do that. So there's such a massive built-in support network for you, and so many different community engagement opportunities as well. No matter what hobby you do, no matter what job you do, there's so many opportunities for you to engage with the community. That's something that's really, really nice. So definitely you're going to feel at home the minute you step into Saudi Arabia, and for the future you're going to continue to feel like that. The next thing I would say, like Saudi people, they have such a massive cultural respect because so many different nationalities have been in Saudi Arabia. It doesn't really matter what nationality you are, what ethnicity you are, who you are, where you're from, what town you're from. You're probably not the only person from that here in Saudi. It's such a multicultural place. And the Saudi people and the people in Saudi, they have a massive respect for someone with a different culture. And you're just going to feel really integrated into the life of Saudi Arabia. You're not going to be alone. People are going to really respect what you do and everything. And that's what makes it such a beautiful place to live in. And as well as that, the government initiatives that they've been taking have been really, really good as well for life in Saudi Arabia. So nicer infrastructure, affordable housing. For example, if you're employed, you receive healthcare, you're going to have that coverage. So from your employer, like early checkup for diseases, treatments, pregnancies, etc., anything you can think of really. So that's great. And the healthcare is amazing. And also the quality of life in Saudi Arabia is something unmatched to anywhere else. And I think maybe one of the most important things of this initiative is the quality of life for the citizens of Saudi Arabia. It's so amazing. The quality of life in Saudi is amazing. And I think if you were to move here, I think you would find it's an amazing place to live. And there's so many things to do. The people are so amazing, and it's really something beautiful. And that sort of ties in this quality of life thing to what I wanted to speak about, the most important thing that I wanted to speak about with you. And it's almost like this feeling that you get when you're in Saudi Arabia that you don't experience anywhere else. And it's kind of this movement in your heart. You can feel it in your bones. You can feel it in your mind, in your heart. Something to do with the country. It has this vibe, but it's not like a vibe. I don't know. For the people who are in Saudi and they're watching this, they know what I'm talking about, but it's hard to call it a vibe. It's hard to put actually a word into it, but it's almost a mix of different things. But it's like when you come to Saudi, and as I say, maybe for the first time, you've not been here before, you've experienced that experience in the airport. You get to there, you're welcomed by the locals so amazingly, and you just feel something in your heart, the love from the people. They, as I said before, they love to see you're in your country, you're a guest of their country, and they will literally move mountains for you to make sure you have an amazing trip, as I spoke about with the suitcase. The camaraderie you get with the people. I mean, literally, I was speaking with my friend last night for hours, and we just had to get to a point where we're like, okay, we're going to talk probably all day and we probably won't sleep, so we need to sleep. You can really feel the love of the Saudi people in your bones, and not just the Saudi people as well, but the expats who live in Saudi, because that culture is integrated into life, not just in Riyadh, not just in Jeddah, but the whole of Saudi Arabia. That's something so amazing, and it's something to do with like the if you go meet someone and it's like the oud, it's like, I like to wear thobes in Saudi, so it's like wearing the thobes and the feeling you feel when you're wearing that. The dates, sort of the aroma, maybe having like a rice and meat feast with some of your friends, or maybe some random people you don't know. And it's like the aroma of the food, the aroma of the oud that's going on. It's like the smell of Saudi. It's the amazing chats you have with people and actual meaningful conversations with people as well. I feel like in the UK as well, we kind of have a chat with someone. We're like, oh, how's it going? Yeah, not too bad. You? And that's it. The conversation just ends there. Whereas in Saudi, you're having a chat with someone who you've met maybe for the first time, and it's such a meaningful conversation. They really care about what you have to say. They really care that you're having a nice time and that you're there. And it's just something that you take away and you think, that was a nice conversation with that person, and it actually meant something, and they cared about what I said, and I cared about what they said. And it's that sort of mutual feeling of just that people want to see you do well in Saudi Arabia. Whether they're Saudi or expats, they just want to see you do well in Saudi, want to see you be successful in your career and be successful in life. They want to see you have an amazing time and feel at home. And they're really going to go out of their way to make sure that you are living the best possible life you possibly can in Saudi Arabia. The friends that you make along the way are going to just be the most amazing people you've ever met. I don't think I've ever really met a bad person in Saudi Arabia. You think you've met nice people. Wait till you come to Saudi Arabia. The people are the nicest people I think I've ever met. And I know I talk a lot about, the people are pure in Saudi Arabia. The people are kind in Saudi Arabia. The people are warm. Like, guys, I'm not like, I know someone commented on one of the last podcasts I did, like a reel, and he said, well, that's just humanity. No. Guys, you won't find this anywhere else in the world. Like, the level of how amazing these people are is something that you won't find anywhere else. And I know I said a lot about, obviously, how warm they are and everything. It's totally different than anywhere else in the world. I've been to so many different countries, and like, it's just different in Saudi. It is so different, and it's not just they're just doing that for the sake of it. These people are just genuinely nice, and I'm so happy that like, long may it continue, that the people are so amazing, and that's just been something so nice about sort of life in Saudi Arabia, and it just makes you so happy. And it's like when you have a meeting with a friend, like I remember I met someone for the first time, we had coffee, we had breakfast, we were chatting all morning, and he said, would you like to come with me on the weekend to visit my family, and we'll have some nice food. And so he picked me up on a couple of days later on the weekend. We went to the house in the north of Riyadh, and not in Riyadh, but like a bit further out of the city. And met his family. They had a lovely family home. They bring you sort of like the Saudi coffee and maybe some sort of snacks, some dates. You have a chat with them. You're having a really meaningful conversation. They really want to know about your culture. They want to know about you and your life. And it's not too personal. It's nice things that they just want to learn more about you. They're curious people, and it's good because I'm also curious as well. And they just really care about making sure you have a nice time. And so we just had a nice chat. Then we had some nice kabsa, which was lovely. And I love lamb kabsa, by the way, and meat kabsa, chicken, everything. So I love kabsa and Saudi food. So we had some of that. It was the most clean food ever. It was tasty, but not the horrible tasty where you sort of like, it's not the horrible spicy where you're sort of like, oh my God, it's too hot, I'm going to like really have a terrible day tomorrow. It's like spicy as in it's nice and aromatic and it's tasty, but it doesn't sort of leave a horrible feeling after. So that's a nice thing, I would say, as well. And then, you play football in the garden with their family, and it's just so lovely. And these people, they're so clean, the food's clean. Like, you couldn't even imagine the food's clean. Like, it's crazy. And like the people, that there's like whole regulations on the food, so you can't like inject it with loads of stuff to other places. And so you're eating nice food with nice people. They're super clean people. The food's clean. There's not any sort of like really bad oil or anything. It's tasty. It doesn't leave a bad taste in your mouth. And that's something that's just so amazing about the kingdom. And that's just something I really love about it all. And this is just someone who you meet for the first time, and they just make you feel so happy, happier than you've ever been in your entire life. And even just like the chat with my friend last night, we FaceTimed for hours. I laughed so much, and I was so happy for the whole call, because these people, they just know how to make you feel so happy. And I don't think I've ever slept better in my life than when I've been in Saudi. I mean, seriously, like it's out of this world, the level of how like amazing you feel when you're in Saudi. And the closest I've ever felt to this experience was when I was in Egypt and I was in a mosque, and I felt this like movement where I was kind of like moving, but I wasn't moving. Something in my heart felt like this is the place where I want to be. And especially in Saudi Arabia, I've never felt so calm in my life. And I'm not from Saudi Arabia. I'm from miles away. I'm from a different culture, but I feel at home when I'm in Saudi Arabia. I feel at one with the country. And this is exactly why I'm doing this podcast, because I feel like this is somewhere where I love so much and I feel so patriotic about the country. And I've fallen in love with it. And it means more than love to me. It means everything to me. And that's what I would say about the kingdom. So really, just really love the whole place. And I mean, it's just got so much about like my life that I love as well. I mean, I love coffee, and the coffee scene in Saudi is like amazing. So I love like Spanish latte and V60 in Saudi. And it seems you can only really get that in Saudi or in the Middle East. But that's something I really love, and it's the best in the world. Like the coffee beans. I mean, I remember one time I went to the coffee shop at like 11 p.m. and I was kind of a little bit tired, and so I just had 2 V60s and some and a biscuit, and I was up until like 8 a.m. the next day. I was so like awake, and I couldn't. And then by 8 a.m. I was like, do you know what? I can't do this anymore. I need to sleep because otherwise this is going to be crazy. So I literally went on a walk. It was like the most blissful walk ever, 25 degrees in Riyadh. And I was looking out to the amazing skyline in Riyadh. And I was like, this is just so amazing. Although I'd been up for like hours doing nothing, and then got back and I slept amazing. And I've never slept so amazing in my life than when I was in Saudi. So really, it means a lot to me, the whole country. And I think, you know, if anyone watching this was to relocate to Saudi from watching this video or even think about it, then I feel my job is done with this episode. But seriously, it's an amazing place, and the food scene's amazing. Guys, if you come to Saudi, you need to try the Saudi food, but also I would recommend that you just try any food possible. Anything you ever wanted to try, ever. I mean, I remember one time I was in the mall and I was like, I really want to try Raising Cane's. Oh my God, man, that was so nice. The best food, maybe best takeaway, but unfortunately I can't get it over here. But the Saudi food's nice, as I mentioned before. And yeah, try McDonald's, try KFC, try everything. I think maybe McDonald's and KFC is better in England, but that's just a personal preference. But anything else, Saudi totally trumps over anywhere else. It's amazing. It's really amazing. So definitely, if you're watching this video and you're not from Saudi or you're not there already, come to the kingdom. If you see that I'm there on my socials, please drop me a message. I'm more than happy to have a coffee with you. We're going to have a chat. We're going to help you feel this exact feeling that I've been speaking about in this episode. So please let me know if you're in Riyadh and you want to meet up. Just let me know. We'll have a coffee and we'll go from there. But I think that's my job done for this episode. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a like, and we'll see you for the next episode. Until then, bye.